start the recording. So we are now live. It is 3 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. here in Jerusalem, Israel. And this is a very, very special program that we have here. Really, the floor is open to you guys. We have on the call here today Jamie Orler and Eric Briscoe. Jamie and Eric are both regular Crusher members. These are regular people with regular stories that have gone through the same trials and tribulations and everything that you've gone through and are going through, and they've come out the other side, and their stories are really exceptional. Now, I do want to point out that these are two examples of people that have been writing into me. I've had literally, I can't even number the amount of people writing and telling me that they've landed their first deal, the first couple of deals. Some people have created some really great success stories. Some of them I've interviewed and I've uploaded for you to listen to. But Eric and Jamie have really created exceptional stories, and we're going to be asking them a bunch of questions in just a couple of minutes. I want you, your end, if you possibly could listen into what they're saying and ask your questions. Marion says, thank you for staying up. Thank you, Marion. I appreciate it. This is your hour to ask your questions to regular crushers who are absolutely crushing it. Now, just a couple of notices before we get started with the program. Number one, again, I love hearing from you. If you have anything that you like to tell me about your situation, about what we can do to make it easier for you to be more successful. We are very attentive. I love hearing your success stories. I also like to hear what it is that you have to say. If you have any suggestions or any ideas to make it easier for you, because that helps the entire community, and I'm able to listen in and provide programming that answers your questions. And in fact, this session is in answer to pretty much a public demand that these two gentlemen get on the call. We did a few-minute interviews with them. People were so inspired by it that they wanted to get some more training from them. So this really is a response to you. I was never planning on doing this program, but it really was a response to your request. So I'm very attentive and want to hear back from you. So that's number one. And number two, just to let you guys know that on Wednesday afternoon, we are launching our next crusher. It's called the Local Search Crusher. And this is the most powerful strategy that we've ever revealed in public. In fact, it's the most important strategy that Roger right now is using in his business. So please save the date for Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, Eric and Jamie, this is your hour. And again, I'd love to hear the questions from the audience. And first and foremost, let's just recount ourselves. Let's just let's familiarize ourselves again with the two stories. So let's start with you, Jamie. Let's start very briefly. If you can just remind folk, I'm sure they've heard your story that I uploaded to the website. Why don't you just briefly just tell folk about where you were before you joined the Crusher community, what you learned, what you implemented, and where you are today? Because it's a ridiculous story. And again, before you do that, Jamie, please listen in to Jamie. If you've got a question, write it in. We're going to listen to Eric, and then we're going to take a lot of questions, and then hopefully Jamie and Eric will be able to answer your questions. So, Jamie, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Barry. First, I want to say thank you for having me here. This is really, really exciting, and I'm just like you guys that are out there right now, and I was just really hearing what was going on out there with the social arena, and I felt like I was missing the ball. So basically in January of this year, I started doing a lot of research on, really how I can get involved with participating as a social media manager per se, and just started basically consuming anything I could possibly get my hands on, and trying to wrap my mind around really how to do this as a business and structure a business model. Well, as things progress, I'm sure many of you are just buying a lot of stuff on the forum and the Warrior Forum and getting a lot of great material from a lot of the guys that are on there. But my mind was just like, how do I put it all together? How do I package it all together? And how do I get everything that I need under one umbrella? Well, it wasn't until, Barry, you guys launched Facebook Lead Machine where it really finally clicked for me of, wow, I have everything that I need to really start moving forward on this. So what I did is because I have another company that I focus most of my attention on, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to be the guy that goes door to door. Now, I can meet with clients, but I just wasn't able to go door to door, and I know that's pretty much the best way to go about it. So I had to hire somebody to come on board with me. So I placed an ad on Craigslist for my local market, and I had just a bunch of people respond. And I just met with the one gentleman that came on board. His name is Jason, and we went through kind of the whole game plan of what all I've accumulated over the previous months from from Facebook, how to do the Facebook QR codes, text messaging, Google Place pages, everything that we're all learning online right now. And I went through it all with him, and we basically came up with what we call a social presence portfolio. And we put 30 of those together for the local businesses in our area, and we just went and gave them this social presence portfolio. And, to make the long story short, it just took off. In September, it took off. We weren't getting no's at all. Everybody was absolutely willing to sit down with us, talk to us about this, and it just kind of moved forward. Now, of course, we had to follow up because initially it's tough to get right to the owner of the business. But as we kept following up over the first 4 weeks of doing this, we landed so many clients that basically all of October we had to kind of say, whoa, let's take a step back here real quick and figure out how we're going to handle all this that's happening. And then, as you guys heard on the interview that Barry did, it took off on a national basis now, where we're working with some franchises such as Sweet Frog, which is a frozen yogurt franchise, which we're really in deep with these guys. It's an exciting franchise, and we're actually doing a campaign for them. And all of you guys on here can definitely participate in this. We're going to be giving away $10,000 to name their frogs, their new mascots that they came out with. And we have many other major franchises now that are really talking to us about how do we move this thing forward. So that kind of sums it all up, Barry, of what we've been doing. But it really came to what you guys did, launching your Facebook lead machine, that really led me to be able to handle all of these clients in one place.
Okay, so before we get to you, Eric, I just want to ask you a direct question about that, Jamie, and then we get to you, Eric, and your story. Jamie, what were the biggest challenges? What was it that was holding you back? You said you bought all these different WSOs and all these different programs. Can you explain what is it that was holding you back? Why was it that you were unable to launch, you were unable to get out there, and then suddenly something clicked, that everything changed and all these people are rushing to do business with you? It just seems such an extraordinary change. Define exactly what happened, what the challenge was, and what it was about the Facebook program, I believe you said, that changed it for you.
Well, because Facebook was going to be the lead-in. That was the terminology, the word we were going to use to go into a place. And the Facebook pages that I was testing and trying to create were all WordPress themes. And I had to launch a theme and go into the server and launch it. And there was too much technical stuff. There was too much going on that made it difficult for me to be able to duplicate that and be able to grow it quick. But Facebook Lead Machine, I click a button, I'm logged in, I edit the fan like, I edit the page, and I basically click submit. I go to the apps.facebook.fan page, whatever it is, I forget off the top of my head, and I program in the 2 links into the app thing, and boom, I click submit, and it's done. It makes it so easy for me to be able to launch the Facebook fan page, which is our initial startup of what we do with them. Even though we pitch them on everything and we sell them on a $300 a month package, our lead-in is we're going to start you off with Facebook and get your branded message going on Facebook. So the Facebook Lead Machine, basically it made everything simple for me to be able to move it all forward.
Okay, and if I just, again, sorry, Eric, there's one final question. Why have you decided to lead in specifically with the FB offer as opposed to any other offer?
Well, it's just because that's the hot term right now. Whenever we talk to any client, Facebook is really what they're focused on. Even though we're developing their Yelp and their Google Place and their Foursquare and Urban Spoon at their restaurant, we're putting all that together. Honestly, all they really care right now is, are you increasing my likes? And so that's what the hot topic is. So we lead with that because they're very interested in talking about how they can increase their brand message, getting that consistent, and increasing their likes. It's easy to back in them with all the other services that we have, but we start with the Facebook just because that's the easier it's easy to start a communication with any business owner by leading with Facebook.
Awesome. Okay, again, folks, listening in, it's an incredible story. If you have specific questions you'd like to ask Jamie, please write them into the question section, and we'll get to as many as we possibly can a little bit later on. Let's move over to you, Eric. Your story is is also incredible because you've overcome illness, you've overcome a business that went down the tubes thanks to the crisis in America and the whole Western, well, in fact, the whole world. And now you're back. Suddenly you found your way, and now you're absolutely having a ball. Why don't you just describe what happened in your story again, very briefly, so people can refamiliarize themselves with it?
Oh, I'd be glad to. Barry, thank you for inviting me on this call. This is really an honor. The story's kind of involved, as I imagine everybody who did hear the original interview. So I'm not quite sure where to dig in, but you really surfaced as a breath of fresh air for us. Like a lot of people I've talked to in this business, a lot of your consultants, I've tried to follow so many different internet gurus, for lack of a better term, and mostly came up empty-handed and empty, little lighter in the wallet, and a lot less time on my hands. And when we saw, the original Crusher program, it just instantly made sense. And then, of course, knowing a little bit about you and your background and your association with J. Conrad Levinson, it gave me a lot of hope that I was really talking to a professional for once. And the moment we started to study all of the Crusher products, it brought years of business knowledge and marketing. It all sort of coalesced, and it finally made sense. I finally started to understand what social media and internet marketing really was about, which was great. I got really excited, and then, I had to fulfill the sales. And we started to have real challenges because I'm a great, salesman and marketer, but I'm not the most technical guy in the world. And it's certainly no comment on your products. It's just it didn't compute in my head. So we went searching for, as I think a lot of people do, outsource suppliers, and we ferreted everywhere, Craigslist, Fiverr, you name it. And every time we thought we had somebody that could deliver, we ended up pretty disappointed, which just was really upsetting because, here we were in reach of the finish line and just needed this one piece. Little did we know how big a piece it really meant to our business, because it was tying me up from being able to fulfill the clients I'd sold and the future clients I knew we could bring on. So I started to look around and found that right here in my hometown was an award-winning internet marketing firm that was extremely talented. Their business model was such that they had a white label program that was designed to support guys like me, other marketing agencies, media groups, radio stations, and it was a marriage made in heaven. And within days we were able to start turning over clients that I'd already sold to get their sites done, to get their social media built, their fan pages done, their Google Places, their review sites, their citation stuff. We had everything in a single source, and I had a staff of over 30 of the best engineers and media managers in the country, and wholesale pricing that was better than what I was charging. So we were kind of off to the races, and the rest of it has just been it's just been very easy, I have to say. I mean, they make it very simple for me. Selling social media these days is pretty simple process because it's on the mind of everybody. And we have a price point that allows everybody to get in, whether it's just a few $100s a month or thousands. We can prepare a proposal for them and start to deliver very quickly. So I hope that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. So for you, the biggest challenge was the fulfillment. You found a company, you were off to the races. And for Jamie, it was a matter of just finding the final pieces of the lead-in product that he could get the ball rolling. He found it, how to do it, and he was off to the races. Gents, thank you very much for that. Let's get to some questions again. If you have any questions, I won't be able to ask all of them. There's a load of questions flying in here, but I will get to some of the juiciest ones. So if you have a really juicy question, please write it in. I'm going to fire away at the team. And again, we're here to answer your questions. So Rich has a question. He says, hi guys, I'd like to know what is the most successful business type that you've been marketing to so far, and your most successful strategy of landing them. I just preceded his question there. So business types, Jamie, let's start with you. If you to name in your local audience, obviously you're working now with corporations countrywide at this point, but when you started off there in the local business scene, was there a type of business that you felt was more likely to be successful for you than others?
Yeah, 90% of what we're doing right now is restaurants. We do have a few like putt-putts, entertainment type of stuff, but the majority of what we're doing are restaurant-related businesses, and basically the number one thing that we're doing to work with these individuals is that social presence portfolio. We're basically going out there and finding out exactly what's going on with that business prior to ever meeting them, putting it in a professional-looking manner, and then basically going to that business and showing it to them. Hey, this is how your internet life really looks right now.
And that's before they even know of you. You've already done that research. You've walked in, so you look like you've seriously researched their business, which you have.
That's exactly right. We spend and it only takes like 15 minutes, not even, once you have it down, to actually research the business. And what it does is it gives you a confidence level of, oh my gosh, this business is hurting. They desperately need me right now to provide these services to them. And as you're going through the social presence portfolio, that's what happens. You get this, I have to go talk to this business, instead of, hey, I got to go sell this business and try to get them to write me a check. It's, this company needs me desperately. When you do a portfolio for somebody, it really blindsides you as like, wow, they need me. But when you give it to them, they can't say no.
Awesome. That's incredible. I'm going to put you on the spot, Jamie, as a something that we can give away to this incredible audience. And I'm sure there's about 20 people right now. I'm guessing, I'm not even scrolling down, people asking about that social media portfolio. Is that something you'll be able to share with people?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
It's nothing fancy. It's just a nice little portfolio that we put together of where they're at with all the different things. I'd be more than happy for them to have it.
Awesome. Okay, so if you don't mind, Jamie, at the end of this presentation, if you can send that over to me on the replay page, I'll place it up there, and that'll be a incredible gift to get the evening started or the afternoon started. So you're basically using that portfolio, sticking in front of the audience. Why don't you just again briefly describe, and Eric will get to answer in a second, briefly describe again how you're using this portfolio and how it creates a deal. So they will see exactly what this portfolio is, but you're locating a restaurant, you're phoning them up, and what are you telling them on the phone call?
Well, actually, we don't even phone them up. We just go in.
You just walk straight in?
Yeah, we just go right into the business, and we have the portfolio done. So we have a confidence going in that we know that they need us, and we're not going in there to sell. We're going in there to leave this social presence portfolio to follow up with them, to schedule the meeting.
Wow. So you're not trying to close a deal in that first encounter. You're just trying to hand over a document to the business owner. That's all you're trying to do.
That's it. And it's amazing because they stop you. Well, no. What is this? Can you? We actually had a restaurant here that has 7 locations. Genius. It's a Mexican restaurant, and they cut us a check right then and there.
But the majority of cases, they are stopping you and you're having a conversation. Just tell us, what are people likely to get out of, walking in with this portfolio? What are the results you've generated?
Well, if you get to the owner, if you actually get to the owner, you're going to have a good reception. If it's the manager or the gatekeeper or something like that, you definitely want to at least show them, hey, we put this together. It's your social presence portfolio, and we want you to take a look at it, show it to the owner. This is actually what's going on online right now. One of the questions we ask everybody is, do you have a Facebook? It doesn't matter if it's a gatekeeper, the manager, or whoever, because we're getting that yes right away. So, like for instance at La Carreta, the Mexican restaurant, when we asked him, we got no. He didn't have a Facebook personal page initially, and it was really shocking. And that's why when we actually were leaving there and he cut us a check to start the services for all 7 locations, we were blown away because he wasn't even personally attached to doing anything online. So it was really a remarkable shift. Now he's got a smartphone and he checks in everywhere, and he's like this biggest social butterfly in the past 2 months. It's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. All right, that is okay. So we understand how you're getting in front of the audience and how you are compelling them to work with you, which is an incredible, incredible idea. And you're telling us that pretty much, people aren't saying no to that. So that's really incredible. Okay, and those are restaurants predominantly. Eric, over to you. If you were to name one type of business that you've been more successful with than others, what would that be, and what strategy have you used to close a deal with them?
Well, actually, Barry, I'm gonna suggest two more, because I have to agree with Jamie. Restaurants they're just easy. They really are very responsive. They've got the revenues that it takes to pay for these kinds of programs. They seem to be just more tuned in to the need for social media and Facebook. We also do quite a bit with mobile. We build mobile apps, mobile websites, and mobile messaging. So we approach them from that standpoint a lot, as well as being able to provide a mobile application, an iPhone or Android app for them. And because of the impact of what we can do with that app in terms of driving business, filling in soft hours, building a mailing list, the return on investment on building one of those for them, they can literally pay for it with one afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a little bit lazy, and my background is such that I'm used to selling to groups. So when I realized we had this capacity to do such volume of work, I started to think in terms of, rather than calling on an individual business or even trying to find a chain, I started looking for organizations that already had business clients that we could tap into.
For example?
And, well, other media companies, other marketing firms, even the internet marketing firms, where, they're having to, either do the thing that they tend not to be very strong at. A lot of them are graphically or technically oriented, and they don't sell really well, or they sell really well, and that's where they fall down on the technical or the management side of it. So we could bring both pieces to the table for them, and they already had business. But what was really easy was to start working with chambers of commerce, where they might have 200, 300, 700 businesses, all members of that chamber for one purpose, and that is to build more retail business. We're working on a proposal right now for a visitor and conventions bureau. Their whole function is to drive marketing for the restaurants and entertainment venues and hotels and bed and breakfasts and bars and nightlife, the resorts, the festivals that they have, and they're just not hitting it out of the park. So when we walked in, they became a client immediately, and we in turn said, and by the way, we have this whole raft of services that you can offer your clients in the form of social media and mobile applications and internet marketing and SEO, and they fell all over themselves trying to get to us. So we work in two fashions. They can either put our firm sort of completely behind them and market it as though it's their back office, or they can engage us directly, and we'll even help sell their clients. All they have to do is make that introduction, and that kind of a warm introduction we pretty much have to try and avoid not ruining the sale by walking in.
That is so clever.
Oh, they're already convinced.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're members of that convention bureau for business.
Yeah.
So we, instead of turning up one client, we're walking into 300, and it's easy. I hate to say it that way because it's really not, but compared to where I came from, this is easy.
Okay, I mean, and there's a couple of nuggets we got from the two of you already that it was well worth the entrance pass, that's for sure. Oh my goodness. The idea, Jamie, perhaps you'll just respond to that. The idea of, instead of talking to one person, you talk to an entire company, you talk to a chamber of commerce. And if you could outsource this work to another company, they could actually white label, so it looks like it's coming from them. You make them look like superstars, and you're making money from every single sale they make on your behalf. I mean, That is just a fantastic idea. Jamie, what do you think of that idea?
Well, Barry, it's incredible. Eric's touching on something is what actually spiraled us to the level that we're going. The initial walk-in to, and please forgive me, guys, that I'm not going to mention the name of the company right now, but the initial walk-in to the company was to present to them, hey, you guys deal with all these businesses in town. You have 3 locations. Why don't we create a synergy partnership where you guys offer my services? You're not doing it now. Why don't you guys offer my services to your potential clients, and we'll do a revenue share on it. And, of course, they said, well, why don't you do it for us first, and then we'll start offering it to the clientele. So what Eric's talking about is absolutely genius. It works. A couple of the other ones that are on our docket to actually go after is the copier places, the business machines. They sell the copier machines to all the businesses in town. And also we have a direct mail piece. I've actually spoken to the guy a couple times. He goes around and he sells in 2 different cities this direct mailer that goes out to all the homes in our area. And we haven't had the opportunity to actually sit down and build the relationship, but we have talked on the phone, and we're both very eager to start the relationship. We just haven't solidified the deal yet. So what Eric's talking about is pure genius.
Brilliant, brilliant, gents. All right,
yeah. Barry, if I could just add a couple of more categories for guys. You know, there's a lot of print publications out there that are struggling. Whether they do coupons, they do direct mail, they may have a local free magazine or a paid magazine in the community. By partnering like Jamie's talking about with them, we give them, 5, 6, 7, 8 different income streams that they can add to clients and make their print more effective by including that social media branding in that print ad, their Facebook page. Or, if it's text messaging, giving that ability, all of a sudden their print becomes much more effective. We also work with radio stations, which are suffering terribly by the economy. Their ad packages are just not selling for what they once were. And we have an entire media program for radio and TV where they can adopt all of our web-based marketing programs. So there's lots of great. I love the idea, Jamie, of working with the office companies. I mean, who better? These are businesses that already have influence with the client. They've already got that trust and credibility. So when they walk in and introduce us, it just makes it so easy, and they're very hungry for this additional marketing.
Oh, wow. Okay, gents, let's carry on with some extra questions. Wow, that was really incredible. Marion's asking, this is a question really for Jamie, but I think, Eric, this is also applicable for you as well. Did you hire salespeople before you sold anything? It certainly sounded like that way in the story you gave.
Absolutely. The Jason, the first guy that came on board with us, he actually made our first sale for the company, yes.
Okay, so what gave you that confidence? I mean, and most crushers right now are basically saying to themselves, well, I've got to go out, make my sales. If I know how to do it, I'll scale it up. You went the other way. What was it? Are you just, obviously you're super confident about this. And I think this is something that people don't quite understand. What was it that allowed you to, to go out and say, I know what I need to do. I need to bring on a salesperson because if I have him on, I'm going to build this up. You knew that. What was it that you knew that most crushers don't know? And perhaps hopefully after you're a hunter, we'll know.
Well, the reality of it is I just wanted to be in the social media arena desperately. I did the video stuff, 5, 6 years ago, whenever, Traffic Guys and those guys, and I knew, Tube Mogul, I knew that it worked, but I basically walked away from it to focus on my other company. And I knew I had to get back involved. I didn't want to miss what was going on out here to make the money, but I knew that I couldn't go door to door. So right from the get-go, I was doing all the research and educating myself on, okay, this is how I'm going to build the company. What all do I need out there? And you guys all know it. You've bought the courses, the Place Page, the Yelp, the Foursquare, how to do the mobile websites, the text messaging, the QR codes, all of that. Once I understood all of those things, well, I know that the average salesperson out there right now, they don't know how to do all this stuff. They don't know it. They don't know how to do all this. So I built the back end. Well, per se, I just put all the pieces together from people like yourself, Barry, that You guys have Facebook Lead Machine and the other products. I put all that together as far as the back end. I white labeled as much as I possibly could from other companies, and I put the ad in Craigslist, hired the sales guy, showed him everything that we had without revealing the wizard behind the curtain thing, and he went out and we put the presence portfolios together and made our first sale the first week.
You just set yourself up, Jamie. The Craigslist advertisement. Now, I believe you do have it in front of you right now?
Let me see here.
Is it visible? If not, it doesn't have to be invisible. Perhaps you could describe it to us, and most importantly, if you could add that to the package of things that you're going to be giving away, I think that would be absolutely incredible, because it's a great idea. Just get and we did a very special program on that with the Gritter program last week about building a sales team. But that sort of advertisement, obviously, it's gold dust for people on this call.
Well, Barry, what I've done is I have my screen up and I've minimized it a little bit. There's nothing on my screen right now except for the ad that I placed on Craigslist. That's all they'll see if I don't know how you do that on my screen.
Yeah, no, I can hand this over to you. Absolutely. Hold on, let me hand it over to you. The wonders of science. I'm going to make you, Jamie, the presenter, and then I'm going to basically. It's now going to be handed over to your screen, I believe. So we should be able to see your screen.
Ready. Yep, when ready, show my screen. Okay, let me click that.
All right, here we go. Mr. Jamie Orler. Here it is.
Very good. You see that?
Yeah, we absolutely can. Why don't you just describe what this is and why and how this works?
Well, basically, the subject line is social media manager, and then dash the city, and the response that you get from this is incredible. I mean, I can't get to all the people that respond to this, but you'll see, do you have a Facebook account? As I mentioned earlier, that's the first question we ask anybody. Do you have a Facebook account? The answer is pretty much all the time, except for Jesse at La Coretta, is yes. Everybody has it, so it gets the ball rolling right away. Do you know what Facebook fan page is? And I ask them, do you know what this stuff is? And then I just basically say, every business in this area, they need it, and we're looking to train the right person. You don't really have to know what you're doing. We'll train the right person. And then we kind of give a little bit of credibility to what we're actually doing. Hey, you know these companies in town, well, we handle them. They're our clients. And then just kind of, build them up a little bit. We're looking for positive people, be excited, big thinkers, goal-focused, part-time, full-time, either way. But that's the exact ad that I just ran that one again last week, and we hired 3 new people.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Fantastic. So you'll be able to send the script over to us so we can give this over to people that are on this call?
Sure, you got it.
Awesome. Wow, this is going to be a big email package I'm receiving. Let's hand it over to you, Eric. Why don't you just keep that? We'll keep that screen up. Do you have anything to add to that, Jamie? Or just basically just take it, run with it, and stick it up in your local Craigslist, and it's going to work for you as well. Do you have anything to add that people should know about, or just basically just plug and play?
The reality of it is just do it. Just go to Craigslist, place your ad. You will get people to respond to you. Bottom line. And the one thing I want to emphasize is that the confidence you must have when meeting with these people. I don't follow up with people in regards to this ad. They have to show me that they want this position, because it is a 1099 independent contractor position. They are coming to make sales, and they're going to make a commission off those sales. I'm not paying them a salary or anything like that, and they have to prove to me that they're the person that is going to be committed to this project as I am. So having the confidence to just take the step and place the ad, but once you do, to be able to basically schedule the time to sit with them at the local coffee shop and have them prove to you why they're the person that should be a part of your company.
Awesome. Okay, Eric, it's all yours. I mean, you are talking to so many people at the same time that maybe you're focusing on making those deals, or do you actually have people going on the streets selling for you?
Well, actually, I've been the sole proprietor here from the onset, and I was kind of forced into hiring a salesperson. A friend of mine who I was talking with heard me describing what we were doing, and she called me back the next day after the conversation. She said, "I've got to work for you. This is what I've been looking for my whole life." And she's got a challenge turning on a computer, so we were we were talking about teaching her everything from scratch. But what was very strange about it is she's an experienced professional financial planner for many years. So she understood business, and she understands marketing. And before I could even get her on the phone to do a training session with her of any consequence at all, she was lining up conference calls for me with potential clients. She has this knack for getting me in front of a business owner. And before I knew it, the first week she had something like a dozen calls scheduled with different media companies, publications, individual businesses. I mean, she was all over the place, from transmission shops to therapists to a chamber of commerce. She's got a couple radio stations lined up. She still can't explain what we do, but she knows enough to get us in front of the appointment. And we're slowly teaching her. But, you know, I said to her at one point, I said, I really don't care if you ever learn to explain what we do for a living. I'll close every appointment you set up for me if you can keep getting me in front of business owners and decision makers that are as hungry as these are. I don't care. I'll write you the commission check. I'll close it. It's not a problem for us.
Wow.
So it's been really kind of amazing. And, of course, she's learning as she goes. But each time we bring on one of these groups, we kind of inherit a salesperson. Like Jamie said, your client said, well, do it for us first, and they will recommend you. That's kind of what happens. And then they forget that they said do it for us first because they can see how effective what we offer is, and they start talking to their clients anyway. And the phone starts ringing. Hey, you know, I've got this client that we know. They really need a Facebook page, or, you know, they're really interested in having a mobile app done, and we're off to the races. And so it does make it kind of easy. And you know, I have to add one thing about Craigslist. I mean, I have this love-hate affair with Craigslist. It's incredible for certain things, and a lot of times it just brings out the worst possible results. But I have this wonderful app on my phone that lets me search Craigslist, and I put certain searches in there. So when we first started, before we got to any level of success, I started searching a daily search that runs 24/7 for me for companies that are advertising, looking for social media managers, Facebook pages, as a way to see if that was a viable source of lead generation. So at any given time, my phone must have 200 different postings for individuals and companies looking for some form of either web design, web marketing, social media, or mobile apps. And frankly, I don't have time to get to all of them. But it's just an incredible resource.
Fantastic.
And we're only searching just a small area of California. So, I mean, Craigslist is worldwide. It's massive, and it's a great source.
Absolutely, if it's used correctly, as you pointed out. Okay, let's move on then. Lisa's got a question. In fact, this is a question that's been repeated about 20 times. A lot of people are asking this about how much you charge for your services. So let's talk about your entry products first, and then we can talk about some other things after. But your entry products. So Jamie, you spoke about Facebook. What is it, the exact offer that you're making for these small businesses that basically you've got in your portfolio, or perhaps describe how the portfolio leads to that initial sale, what that initial sale exactly is within Facebook, and how much you're charging for it?
Well, actually, that's just to start the conversation, to build a relationship. Our goal is to basically have the business become a basic partner with us. We want the long-term relationship with them. So we start with Facebook. We show them everything that's going on online, and then the close is we can do it all for you. And we set them up on, we're going to handle everything from, as I've already mentioned, their Facebook, the Yelp, the Twitter, YouTube, mobile website, QR codes, Google Places, whatever it has to do with social, we're going to set it all up for them. We're going to take care of it all. We structure it out over a time frame, and it's a monthly commitment to start. Basically charge them $300 a month for us to do that. We only utilize Facebook to start the conversation. Once we show them what all we're able to do, we're going after the monthly residual relationship is what we want. Now, what's actually happened, though, is because it's turning into a bigger picture. For instance, I'm going to use Sweet Frog. We're so in with these guys right now. It's incredible. We're actually filming that video I was telling you guys about this coming Saturday. Derek, the owner's coming over here to the Lynchburg market. We're going to be doing this, and it's a lot of fun. But the whole thing is we're working on, okay, the $300 just isn't feasible for him as a company to say, I'm going to do them all. So we're actually going to be discounting on a bigger scale to get every one of the franchises under one umbrella. So our price point, basically, to make it short and simple, is $300, but we're probably going to be landing on for the masses at $150 a month.
Okay,
whenever
great.
they come on with the bulk amount.
And what's your suggestion for people that are starting off, just say with a Facebook fan page, and they want to start, small as they go into their local markets? Is your suggestion they should start with a free offer and then talk about upsells? Is your suggestion they should start off with something at a low end, but make sure that the business owner is writing a check of some kind?
Well, I went back and forth about how we were going to move forward, because I love the strategies that you guys put out there as far as going in with free, and I love that strategy. We almost went down that path. We really did to actually. We set up that giveaway, the free fan page with your system. We actually set that up, and I think it's eSocial Local or something like that is what we're calling that one for that page. And we actually had a couple people sign up for it. Yet, as we were making the decision to move forward, and I'm going to have to put the credit where credit's due, Jason, the sales guy, basically said, you know what, this is too good, and if the business isn't willing to cut me a check for $300, I don't have time for it. So the end result, I guess, Barry, is I love the free model, and we almost went down that path, but because the sales rep was so confident in all the services that we had, we went ahead and just said, we're just going to charge you $300 a month. Awesome.
Absolutely awesome. Eric, tell us about your opening gambit. When you walk in there, you close your initial sales. What is the initial offer? What are you charging for it?
We take kind of a varied approach with it, Barry. Depends on a little bit on the business, the niche that they're in. We do a little bit of homework before we go in. We want to see what kind of a presence they've got. Do they have a social media presence at all? Do they have their Google Places or any other citation sites set up? Do they have any positive content, negative content? And we'll tailor it a little bit so that when we're talking to them, we don't come in blind. We know a little bit about what they're doing. And one of the things that I always try and lead in with is if they have any positive or negative content, that's always a really good place to start. And shamefully, but it's true in almost 100% of the cases we talk to, they really don't know. They're not paying attention. If they have set up their Google Places listing, they're not paying attention to what the commentary is in there or on any of the other sites that Google Places is tracking. So that's usually a pretty good conversation starter, and from there we might just offer to do something real basic like optimizing their Google Places, getting the categories set up correctly, even right down to the way that it's punctuated in that header is important, so that when their business is being searched, it's being searched much the way you'd set up a keyword profile in a website, so that we're getting more categories for them. And then we'll offer to do some video testimonials. We offer just a little basic package of 10 videos every month that we optimize. We'll teach them how to get that testimonial from their customer, whether it's written or video. And we may even go over on a Saturday or a busy afternoon and shoot some of the videos, upload them, and then we actually SEO optimize them to make sure that they're being fully indexed. Mm-hmm. We also set up the YouTube account as well. And from there, we might charge just a couple of $100 a month to do something like that. but it's something that we can get some immediate results from, and they understand it. They see the impact of it. They know what it means. It kind of makes a shift in the way they do business because they're soliciting positive testimonials from the customers. They're just a little nicer to their customers, and it turns into more business for them. The other angle is like Jamie, we're very, very focused on Facebook because it's the buzz. They understand it. We try not to talk too much about the other players in that market, but we do have a kind of an upsell package that we go to. The main thing is to get them started somewhere, because if we can make headway in any one of these little service niches and start putting some business in their doors, when we get that phone to ring, we've established our credibility, and the question always comes back to, okay, what else can you do? The other thing we always do is we try and benchmark where they're at, so that if we do some work, we know, and they know that it's come from what we've done. And I ask a client when they start with us that I'm not looking for a one-time relationship with them or a single check, that I want to be their business partner ongoing, so that if we do start putting customers in there, and it's not if, it's when we start, will they earmark at least 25 to 50% or more of that revenue to be put back into more marketing? And I get them to agree with it before we go.
It's a no-brainer for them.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if it's fresh money, then it's money that should be spent in more advertising to bring in more business. For bigger accounts, we'll actually sit down and we have an entire interview process, a needs analysis and client profile that we go through, so that we get a complete look at their website, what they've done that's working, what other marketing they've done in the past that either has or has not worked, including their Yellow Pages ads, mailings, email blasts they've done, radio spots, TV. We want to find out what they know, what's worked, what hasn't, and kind of where we're starting, so that we just don't randomly suggest that we provide all these different services without connecting it to an intelligent plan. The other thing that's really important is it helps us figure out what kind of budget we're working with, and so that we can plan accordingly. Because I don't want to go back in and plan, a $5,000 a month proposition for a company that can only afford $1,500 or $500.
Very clever.
Make sure that we're doing it accordingly.
Something you said there, Eric, about trying to get them profitable and to see results immediately is just so important. And in fact, Roger's discovered a lot in recent months that it's obvious, the comment that, the faster you can make them profitable and show that what you say you can do, you can actually do, the more likely and the quicker they're going to relate to you and to connect with you and to trust you. So you can lead them into all kinds of other programs. And in fact, the local Search Crush on Wednesday is giving a specific strategy about doing exactly that, generating results within a day or two. And I can't agree with that more. It's so important. And there's a lot of companies that are focusing purely on SEO where the results are happening 4, 5, 6 months later. It's very hard to get a small business to trust you and to want to do further business with you when they have to wait 4, 5, 6 months for results. So I couldn't agree with that more. Guys, let's move on to further questions here. And let's try and make this a little bit more quick fire as we're running out of time here really fast. And there's a lot of questions flying in. Here's a question from Peter Johnston. This is a super question. He's asking, what time is best to go into these businesses? Obviously, I think he's referring back to the restaurant idea and the paper presses and all the other businesses that you guys mentioned. What's the best time to walk in there, as I find that these guys are always so busy? So, Jamie, what do you think? You say you go into restaurants 90% of the time. Is there a set hour that you tell your sales team to go in there and give the portfolio?
We're going in basically before 11 o'clock, preferably before 10:30, but we will push it to about 11 o'clock, and then we won't go back until after 2. So, we totally miss the lunch. We don't want to be in any way, shape, or form around them when they're getting ready for the rush. And then we don't go in after 4 o'clock as well. So as far as the restaurants go, we only have a few hour time period throughout the day that we actually see them. The earlier you go to a restaurant, the more success you'll have. They're just getting in there. They're just kind of getting their day going. They're drinking their coffee, walking around, seeing what's going on, see what happened the night before, just checking on things. So that's a really, really good time. But once they start getting focused on lunch, it's really tough to do anything with them. So definitely, I would highly recommend, 8:30 to 10:30, and then basically 2 to 4.
Excellent. Eric, do you agree with those times? Have you any other times you would add?
I could not have said it better. Absolutely. You will find them in the best state of mind and the least busy at those hours. I think, wouldn't you agree, Jamie? You walk into a restaurant at lunchtime and they will just about want to shoot you for trying to talk to them at that time.
They will want to shoot you, yes.
Guys, there's a few compliments coming in. I think the best one is from Rick Elwood. Rick says that Jamie sounds like Leo Getz from Lethal Weapon and is as enthusiastic. I love this guy. I love you as well, and I also love Eric. So that's a compliment of the day so far. Has anyone ever called you that, Jamie? Is this the first time?
Is that what's the actor's name?
I have no idea.
Joe Pesci.
Yeah, Joe Pesci. I have heard Joe Pesci a few times, yeah.
Okay, there you go. All right, back to the serious stuff again. Colin's asking about a commission structure. You guys are talking about working with sales teams. How have you worked your sales commissions out? How did you work it out? Is it working for you? Have you changed it midway? Jamie?
Sure. For me, what I did initially with Jason, and actually I brought on the second guy up, and just so you guys know, you don't have to do this in your local market. I brought another guy on up in Boston as well. We actually are bringing people on all over the place because we're focused on national. But the very first month that I started, which was September, I told the guys, listen, if you're going to do this with me, I want you guys making money right out of the gates. And I asked them what type of money they wanted. What do they need to make within the next 30 days for them to stay committed to this project? So I got a good feel for where they were at financially and what they needed, because they are 1099 independent contractors. So we set basically a strategic goal of this is what you're going to have to do over the next 4 weeks to accomplish that. Even though it happened a lot quicker, I offered them 50% out of the gate. Now, I look back on it and I wouldn't do that again, but it helped me get things rolling and had them salivating to get out there and make the sales and do everything they could to get all the sales in by the end of September. So that's how I initially started. But the structure right now is 25%. I pay him 25% of the sale on a residual basis. And now Jason's actually moved up into, he's basically my national director of social media management, and he's making a 10% override on anybody that we bring in and train now. Not like a multi-level or anything like that, but a traditional national leader that's bringing on people, teaching them how to do the social presence portfolios, and actually teach, like we're going tonight, we're meeting with 2 new people, and we're going to be sitting down with them and doing some mock social presence portfolios and how to present to the business. So those guys will come on at 25%, and Jason will make a 10% override on all their sales.
Okay, so one question. You get them going up 25%. They have some success. Now, the problem with salespeople is, they also can be enticed by the next shiny object, right? You're offering 25%. Some other company, they see some other ad that is going to offer them 30%, 35%. What do you do to maintain the loyalty of those guys once you get them going and obviously you've got a system that works?
Well, it's real simple. It's selling the vision. Like, for instance, you guys are going to go out and meet with businesses. You have to sell the vision that you are the expert. You are the guy that they or the lady that they need to be working with for social media management. I do the same with the salespeople. I'm selling a vision that Be Social Local, and just so everybody knows this, and I want anybody to try to compete against me. Just kidding, guys. It's funny. But Be Social Local, the goal is to be the #1 social media management company for franchises nationwide. That's our goal. Be Social Local. If you look at any of the national franchises out there right now, Olive Garden, Ruby Tuesdays, you name it, all of those guys are missing the boat. They're totally missing it. They're focused on their national campaigns, and they're leaving the local presence, just there's nothing going on. And where do the local people go? They go to the local Olive Garden, the local Ruby Tuesdays, and they're out there putting reviews on there, going to those Facebook pages that don't really have anything, and they're interacting and they're checking in, but nobody's doing anything with that content. They're not interacting on a local basis. So that's our goal as a company, and I'm telling that to the salespeople. basically our whole goal is to be the #1 social media management company for national franchises. And as we grow, as you know, Barry, we have a couple big things in the works here. Those individuals are going to have to hire people that they're going to have to train so we can handle the volume that's going to be coming in from these franchises. So I'm selling them on, hey, you got to do the grunt work right now and go do your 30 presence portfolios. Once you do those 30, you'll have more than enough money coming in. From that point, our goal is to bring other people on so we can go after the other franchises. So I sell them on the vision and get them believing in the vision and the passion that we're going to be the #1 guys.
Awesome. What's the situation with you, Eric? Obviously, your situation is slightly different because you're outsourcing all the work to a company, so therefore there's less money for you to play with. How are you solving that issue, and what's your commission structure, therefore, with the sales teams that you're using?
Well, in actuality, we have about the same, if not a better margin, because we're outsourcing.
Don't tell Jason.
I'm sorry?
I said, don't tell Jason your percentages are better.
Well, the reason being is that, if you factor in the time that I have to take to hire, recruit contractors and interview and make sure that they understand and then manage them, even though they're supposed to be managing a lot of it, even if I bill my hourly at a mediocre rate, it's costing me a small fortune. Because it expands my day to still try and keep selling and working with clients. So it actually worked in our favor because I could add so many more clients by doing it that way. Just managing one social media account, to do it right, it takes time, and there's a point of saturation where there's only so much one person can manage. But I have to agree with Jamie. His margins are about the same, or his percentages are about the same as ours. We have certain product lines that give us a bit more margin, so we pay them more. And I'm like him. I want them to make money the first day. I want them closing business, and so we try and front load some money into it. The other thing that I found, when I was at my low in this and thinking the best I was going to be able to do was to go to work for another company, and I started to look at what they were willing to pay me. Our commission structure, Jamie and mine, we're paying more than most companies do. I was seeing anything from 10 to 20% on the front end, and as far as residual ongoing, some of them would cut it off after just 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
Maybe 6 at most, but we pay that every month that the client's with us. That sales rep continues to earn revenue from it. We want them to have that recurring revenue. We want them making a lot of money. Our structure, even for a modest salesperson, will put them at mid-6 figures very quickly, and they can honestly do that inside of 6 months.
Wow. And that just tells you a little bit about, what you're sitting on, being able to run this whole operation. I mean, it's just extraordinary. It really is. Unbelievable. Okay, guys, we are really out of time. There's a couple of things I really want to ask the audience here. First of all, before anything, Eric and Jamie, you guys just been amazing, sharing your time. I know you've got big businesses to return to, so thank you for taking time out for the community. We'll get to you in a second. I'm going to ask you one final question about your last remarks and any comments you want to make in closing. I would just like to ask the community a couple of questions. Number one, has this training, this hour, been helpful for you? And would it be helpful for you if we would have the guys back again? I have to get to work on them again to see if they would agree. But is this type of training useful for you? Would you like more of it on a regular basis? And if anyone wants to say no, I've got about 500 yeses. If anyone wants to say no, and this has not been a great use of time, please say it now so I can hear the other side of the occasion, the other side of the coin, rather. Everyone's saying yes, and some people are saying they want it at least once a month. So I'm not sure if you guys have once a month, but that's super helpful for me. Thank you very much. Second question. I know this is really also a question for you, Eric. There's it must be 70 questions about the outsourcing company. What I suggest, Eric, we do is that we do a unique webinar on outsourcing that will give folk, the A to Z on outsourcing, how best to do it. That would give us time, perhaps, just to figure out with your company whether, they're willing and able to to take on a large number of crushers under them. Again, we need to just confirm that with them, etc. So would you be up for doing a webinar purely on outsourcing so we can really go over this topic in detail and help people out, if either with your company or provide resources for them to solve the issues and to outsource their work with other companies? Would you be up for that, Eric?
Oh, absolutely. Our company is it's really their bread and butter, and they would love to offer the services.
Okay, fantastic.
But I'm more than happy to talk about any form of outsourcing if it helps. If it helps somebody not go through what I went through, absolutely.
Terrific,
Absolutely.
terrific. All right, so we're going to set that up, and that will be another webinar that we're going to provide for the community. That's great. And one other question I have for the community. For people listening in, you've heard from Eric and from Jamie. Would it be useful to have I don't know how to even how to define this, but perhaps if Jamie or to Eric were to create a concise set of instructions, perhaps there'd be audios, videos, some sort of course of some kind. Is that something that would be helpful to you? Because this really is a very different approach to the one that we offer. I think it complements everything we're doing on the Crusher series, but it does offer something very different. So we're getting about, there must be about 300 yeses here, Jamie and Eric. So I think we should stop here. You guys are going to get delusions of grandeur. there's so much compliments. You guys are film stars. You're Joe, whatever his name is. Lots of very positive feedback. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it with the two of you. I'd love to get your final comments in this session. We're going to have you back, whatever it takes. Jamie, I'll speak to the corporations and tell them to just hold on for an hour sometime next month so we can get you back on this for the Crusher community. But last comments, Jamie, for the community, for people that perhaps still need that encouragement to get through to the next stage.
Sure. First, I want to say thank you to all you guys and ladies. This has been so wonderful. And just to get to talk to Barry the past couple times about what's going on, it's just been a great experience overall. The reality of it all is, though, is it comes down to this, and it's something I put in my emails. I have two different signature lines. One is expect a great day from one of the leaders that I love and cherish. He's a great guy. And the other one is take action now. And it really is that simple. There's so many things that are going to come out for another $7 or $12 or $15 that, all that it costs us, and Martin and everybody's going to be putting out on the Warrior Forum. But the reality of it is the majority of you on here have done probably more research than I ever did. I think that I'm fairly educated on it all, but the reality of it is once my mind finally got it, that I get it, this is it, I just took action. And that's the number one thing that I'm sure Eric's going to say as well, is just take action on what you already have. Even if you don't have everything under your belt already, just take action right
Jamie,
now.
let me ask you, let me probe one final time. One action step from you, all right? Take action. Tell me one thing. If someone isn't yet doing it, what is the one action step you would tell people to do after this call immediately, having heard what you've had to say today?
Actually, I would go to your favorite restaurant that you have. Go on to Google and start searching. Look at their Facebook page. Look at their Yelp, their Google Places, their Foursquare. Check out and see if their site is mobile optimized, and do that. Check that your favorite restaurant and see what their social presence is like today. You'll have a confidence to go and at least talk to them. And hopefully, Barry, you get that social presence portfolio up. You guys can use that as a template to put it together and go show them that information.
Brilliant. So 2 steps really. Download the portfolio, get the information for your favorite restaurant, stick it into your personalized portfolio, walk in there tomorrow. That's when the information will be up on the website, and close a deal. Excellent. Eric, it's all yours. One last comment you'd like to make, or one action step that people on this course should be taking?
Jamie and I think so much alike on just about everything. I got to tell you that the biggest enemy that I have is spending time looking for the holy grail of, this program's going to be easier than the next, and there's such great stuff out on the Warrior Forum, and Barry, your stuff is God, I love it. But the smartest thing I think anybody can do is just pick one business category. If it's restaurants, it's automotive, it's something that you can get familiar with, and pick one product. it's Facebook fan page, it's great. If it's mobile websites, that's great. If it's optimizing Google Places and doing reputation building, maximizing local search, find one thing that rings with you that you can feel really solid and really confident about talking about. The rest of it will come, but just focus on becoming talented. Develop your expertise in one single thing, because trying to do them all, it'll confuse you, it'll confuse the business owners. They don't know how all these pieces fit together. Any one thing that we do is going to start getting that phone to ring, and as a friend of mine says, get the phone to ring and the door to swing. But just concentrate on something simple. It's still going to be worth $100, $200, $300 a month to you. Before you know it, you got 10 or 20 clients like that, and the pressure's off, and you can start doing anything you want for these guys. And
Brilliant.
they will really want to start building, shrines to you. Your only challenge then is figuring out whether you want it in marble or granite.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. You've been absolutely fantastic. And again, people are asking where they're going to be able to get hold of your portfolio and the replay. I'll be sending an email out tomorrow, first thing in the morning. Please check your email in the morning. I will send you a link to the replay of this page together with the portfolio and the Craigslist ad, so you can start landing a few salespeople to help you in your quest for market dominance. And this has been a fantastic hour. Looking forward to another session with you. Remember, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Also, we have the local search crushers going to be going live with very, very exciting things taking place. And of course, we've got to get you guys back onto this type of session again, because I think people are demanding it. So to the two of you, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to everyone that's joined us for the webinar. It's been fantastic.
Take care,
Thank you, Jamie. Take care. Thank you.